Welcome in, everybody, to another episode of the Fly High Wi-Fi Mental Health Podcast. Myself, I am Praz23, Sharp, Ryan, whatever you guys want to know me as. This is Mrs. Wi-Fi, and today we are going to be talking about mental health in construction and binge eating disorder. The mental health in construction kind of hits home for both of us as we're both in construction, so it was something that I felt she
Mm.
related to really well. And then she brought it to my attention, and I was like, yes. So we will be discussing those things. Remember, guys, this is an interactive chat during the show. So if you guys have questions or anything that you would like to ask, go ahead and go ahead and ask them. Momo, she says, but eating makes me happy. Yes, and that, we'll go into that. So, um, I knew it was gonna be a wild show today. All right. Which one do you want to start with?
Well, since eating makes them happy, we'll start with binge eating disorder.
Okay, sounds good. We're gonna start with the eating disorder.
Um, so we're just continuing with the trend that we've been doing this summer. We have this one and one more that we'll talk about, and then we'll kind of leave this trend for a bit. Binge eating disorder is the most common disorder that healthcare providers diagnosed. Although many people don't realize it's a disorder. It's It causes frequent episodes of binge eating an unusual large amount of food in one session and feeling unable to stop.
So this is
So
the
what is
number one.
yes.
Okay, so guys, we've talked about all the other ones. This is the number one topic of the eating disorders.
Um what is considered binge eating? The criteria to diagnose binge eating includes eating a greater amount of food than most people would within a limited period, so 1 to 2 hours. Feeling a sense of compulsion or lack of control associated with eating. So kind of like you're full, you're feeling full, but you feel like you have to just keep eating.
Right.
Binge eating episodes occur at least once a week and have been ongoing for several months. Feeling of distress and or self-loathing after binge eating. So
Self-loathing.
how common is binge eating disorder? Like we said, it's the most common of all disorders, accounting for almost half of all diagnoses of disorders. In the US, it affects almost 3% of the population, including all races or ethnic groups. It's more commonly diagnosed in women and people assigned female birth than men. So it affects women a 3 to 2 ratio compared to men. And then it's also more commonly diagnosed in teenagers than adults at a 4 to 3 ratio.
Okay.
Um, so they go deeper into it, saying people who have binge eating disorder often feel embarrassed or ashamed of their binges. People with the binge eating disorder often go through periods of trying to restrict or severely cut back on their eating as this results. But this instead may increase the urge to eat and lead to a cycle of ongoing binge eating. So they kind of try to go on diets or they
Dick.
go into like, go ahead,
I was just say they just try to counter
they
with the
try to
diets.
counter it,
And, yeah,
but it comes back harder than what it would have before. So they start actually eating more than what they would have.
that's kind of like weight gain. People don't realize like if you starve yourself, your body when it starts to eat the fat that your body is storing, it will store it then 3 times faster when it gets put back into the body.
Mhm. So risk factors for binge eating disorder. Binge eating disorder is more common in women than men, and then people under the age of 20. The factors come from family history of binge eating disorder, um, people with a pattern of eating disorders, or a family pattern of dysfunctional emotional coping. So something can happen that causes them to cope with this type of eating pattern. A personal history of trauma or abuse, a personal history of food insecurity, a mood disorder such as depression can trigger this to start, an anxiety disorder. ADHD can actually have this happen.
I can see that. I can see ADHD as one of those things where they just keep going, and I honestly think,
They just
yeah, that might be with my
subconsciously.
son. My son right now. I think that's what we're kind of dealing with him right now is he just always eating and constant, and it's like I'm hungry. I'm like, bro, you just had a whole ass meal.
Mhm. um, substance abuse, substance use disorder. So when they're kind of going through letting go of whatever the substance is, they kind of replace it with the binge eating.
A lot of times with tobacco, we see that a lot of people in
Mhm.
tobacco because it's the number one addictive drug in the United States is tobacco. Um, they stop and then they have to constantly feel like they're putting something in their mouth to replace the cigarette or the cigars
The
or whatever they're
emotion.
doing. Yep, the motion, and then they find themselves eating more and more. My stepmom used mints instead of, so she used fat-free peppermint mints, and that's what she used, and then she gave it all up.
Mhm. So binge eating disorder can be brought on as probably why it's the most common by so many different things because it's kind of replacing something or
Right,
kind of you're using it to deal with an emotion.
suppression of the
Mhm.
emotions.
Um, some complications of untreated, if it's untreated, can to lead to increasingly antisocial behaviors, such as secrecy, avoidance, or lying. So you're trying to cover up what you're doing.
Okay.
You can start to have erratic behavior, such as stealing or hoarding food.
Hoarding, I can see the hoarding thing.
Increasing depression, anxiety, or body dysmorphia, especially if the depression, anxiety were what led to you starting the binge eating. Or increasing distress, self-loathing, or risk of self-harm. And then, depending on how bad the case is, there's complications of obesity, type 2 diabetes, gallstone, fatty liver disease, kidney disease, and then it has those etc. So like when I was doing the research, it had like so many different, like it just impacts your body because you're gaining weight, so it's putting stress on all the
Absolutely,
other
yeah.
organs.
Create a lot of physical problems too.
Mm-hmm.
So this is one that can both attack you physically and mentally really bad.
Yeah, because the more you're eating, typically the more you're going to gain weight. So it's putting
Right.
the impact on you mentally, but it's also putting the impact on you physically.
Absolutely. And then the depression that can come with it and everything else.
Mm-hmm. Um, how do you recover from binge eating disorder? So there's no set or quick fix to it. Um, being a psychotherapist to develop a plan is probably your best way to go, and then
You say
getting your family to.
psychotherapist?
Mhm.
Okay. Somebody that can get you to trick your psyche and trying to
Yeah,
changing your mentality and everything.
and then you can also see a psychiatrist so they can put you on meds for it, depending on what started it. So if it's like the anxiety or depression, depending on what path you want to take to kind of. So again, it's not written in stone how to fix it because it's your personal
Yeah.
journey.
Yeah, it's not
Um,
everybody's past the same, so not everything's gonna work for everybody. Gotta find out
developing
which.
this.
Go ahead.
Go ahead.
Don't call me a goat head. No. I was just gonna say, just finding the path that works for you to actually work for you as an individual versus what everybody else might try.
Mhm. Yeah. I was gonna say getting like a support system between family, friends, getting nutrition advice. So if you have family and friends that if you're around all the time, maybe they kind of follow your same nutrition plan or they're not adding to what kind of, I guess, looking at it as like an alcoholic, they're not constantly drinking around an alcoholic. So they're not constantly
Right.
eating or doing things around you that you shouldn't be, especially in the beginning. Maybe once you're getting kind of further in your journey, then that can be reintroduced, but helping you through that at least initial steps. Talks about also like practice mindful eating, learn to recognize what's hunger and what's not.
Ooh, that's gotta be a hard
Um,
one.
mhm. I know when I was growing up, I used to eat when I was bored.
That's they call it a boredom eating. Yeah, I
Oh
say
no.
that all the time. Like people are like, "Why am I just eating all the time?" Well, what are you doing?
And then
Just sitting here.
when I got older, I had to like tell myself, well, why are you eating? Like I had to start telling myself, like,
Right.
just like am I just doing this because I'm not doing anything else? Or am I actually hungry?
Yeah. It's like when we drive
Uh,
places, I always got snacks because I'm bored in the car. So like,
mhm.
we'll stop to get food, and I'm like, I'm not even hungry now because I didn't snack on everything all the way.
Yep. Also start to stop before you're full. So stop eating before you're full because your stomach doesn't have enough time. Your stomach doesn't tell you you're full before you're full. So if you stop eating
Yeah.
before your stomach tells you you're full, it has time to like register and process to
And
you.
digest the food and let you know actually.
Hmm. And then keep a journal of what you're eating.
Oh, I guess I never thought about that. Like calorie intake and the amount of food intake so you can see exactly where you're at.
I don't know if you have to go as far as like keeping like the calories, but
Right.
just more being conscious of like this day I only ate this much, and then this day I started to kind of eat way more. So what happened this day to make me want to eat more?
Almost said she will only eat when her belly's growling or starting to feel lightheaded.
The
So like,
lightheaded.
is that bad? Yep. Well, yeah. Like I said, you got to fuel your body consistently throughout the day. That's how your body continues on. Your brain needs fuel, oxygen in your blood, and all that stuff. So,
Um, so approximately 2.7 of women, 1.7 of men, and 1.8 of adolescents suffer from BED, is what they call eating disorder.
right. So you got two, one, and one. You got about a 5% overall,
Hmm.
but it's the most common, which is crazy because that's a low percentage. It seems like overall. Okay, because I felt like it was just how. Oh no, I was hungry because I generally not hungry. Um, you might not be hungry and your body might be on that certain schedule where if you did that, like I know my dad eats one time a day. He'll drink his coffee in the morning for work and then drinks a little bit of water throughout the day, but then he doesn't eat till dinner time every day, but then he'll snack all night long. The peanuts, candy, something sweet.
See, I'm like a snacker. I don't really eat. So I know a lot of people like they sit down and eat 3 meals a day.
Not here.
I'm eat eight teeny tiny grab whatever.
Yeah, I don't really eat breakfast as much as I know I should. Well, I just don't like to eat when I first wake up. I need a good hour and a half, 2 hours for after I wake up to eat. And
Yeah,
then
that's not
after,
normal.
what's that?
That's not normal. When you wake up, you should be hungry.
Well, I could be hungry. I just don't choose to eat.
Oh, well, that's weird. That's like the
Uh,
first thought on my mind.
no, mine's like, all right, I gotta make this hour, 10 minute drive to work. And then I drive to work, and where I'm working right now, they have a beautiful cafeteria where they make me omelets every morning.
No, so you have food waiting for you, but no, I wake up and I'm like, where's
No,
my food?
yeah,
I need food.
it could just be me being lazy and not want to make my own food. Mine's salty snacks, sunflower seeds or pistachios. Those are both delicious. Sunflower seeds
Mhm.
is like a huge part of my childhood and baseball, and still a thing that I just eat a whole bag at a sitting if I really want to, with my raw cheek or not.
Right, well, that's what I have for been eating.
All right, guys. So that was binge eating. Um, Pretty straightforward, guys. Uh, it's the number one eating disorder out of all of them that we've talked about over the last 4 weeks or 4 shows. So
Mhm.
we have one more that she has in pocket that she would like to talk about. That'll be on the next show, and then we'll move into a different topic, moving into the fall and winter times for that one. But now we are going to move into mental health in construction. Okay, so this one's this one's gonna hit home a little bit for those that do construction. Hopefully, it can help you, or you can take something from it to go help others around you if you do construction or you know somebody in construction. That's the big thing we've been talking about in group is balanced eating. Balanced eating is the healthiest thing for your body because it keeps your metabolism going throughout the day, and your body has the fuel it needs to keep going. They
I
say
think
three
honestly,
three square meals and six snacks throughout the day is like the best thing. And I'm like, no shot. I got time for all that.
I think, yeah, I think honestly, as long as you're eating what your body needs, again, like
Right.
I've never been a 3 meals person, but I've ate on and off. I haven't ate very healthy, but like I ate pretty healthy for my body, and I can tell when I'm not eating what my body is wanting.
Yeah. When I was working out, and well, in the military, obviously, we breakfast, lunch, dinner on a schedule every day. Your body knows you're going to eat as soon as you wake up. Well, not as soon, at about 5:30 to 6:30, 12 to 1, and then dinner time.
So
Alrighty.
I think was it like 2 weeks ago? Um, I told you that my work was having this training. They are the company I work for, they're actually moving into kind of a different mindset for how construction operates, which I respect very highly because I understand we work in a very stressful industry, and kind of taking a step back and looking at why we work in such a stressful industry, and that it's not just work, it's work, life, and everything else going on in it. Um, So they were taking numbers. It's kind of like a nationwide effort that companies are coming together and working to get kind of level bronze to platinum.
Okay.
And the company I work for right now is gold. They're working towards platinum level of this type of program. And the first thing we look at is what goes wrong, and do you have a psychological safety program or a psychologically safe company? So when you work in construction, you're always talking about like OSHA safety, physical safety, but when all those numbers start to slip, you're still only looking at the physical. You never go
Right.
back and look at the mental behind what's going on.
Right. And what?
And a lot of the numbers do kind of correlate with there's a mental aspect behind when something happens to the physical. Not always, but there's a like high correlation to why those numbers start to slip.
Right. And I would understand that because if you're not mentally on your game at work, accidents happen. And I just
So,
know that for a fact.
mhm. So typically you have the silent spiral, and employees do not like seek treatment. Employees condition and performance continue to decline. Managers see a performance issue, not a health issue, and have no idea how to help. Managers use performance management system, avoids mental health condition. More pressure is put on that employee typically. Trust in that relationship is eroded. Employee usually feels like harassed, isolated, absentee, and then the manager continues to get frustrated. Um, and then there's usually that mental health emergency, whatever it may be. Um, and then that cycle continues.
Okay. So it's just a spiral, like you said.
Mm-hmm. To break that, companies are starting to get more engaged and understand what's going on with the employee. Does the employee know how to get how and where to get help? Does the cultural context connect the supervisor with a strong resource to deploy any help quickly? Frontline managers are to be trained with emotional, mental, and physical health issues, not just physical. Um, Starting cues are you don't seem like yourself today. How can I support you?
Understandable. That's good. That's like when I am streaming and somebody comes in and say their day's not bad. How can we help you? What can we do to make it better? It's as simple as just asking the straightforward question sometimes.
Mm-hmm. Accommodations are to be made so that you can keep circling back to that person. You're not just continually putting the pressure to find out how you can help. So this kind of builds that dignity, respect, and collaboration between you and that employee. But hopefully mitigate any type of mental health emergencies. So that's like the first step within kind of the restructure of how construction wants to take these. And the reason why they started to look at when you're on a job site, you're more likely to die by a suicide than die by an accident at this point because suicide rates in construction are climbing at drastic rates. For every 100,000 males in construction, 56 died by suicide in 2020 or 2022. That's not including women. That's just including men.
Okay, one more time on that number.
Um, every for every 100,000 man or male, 56 died by suicide.
Okay, so 56 males out of 100,000. Out of Every 100,000, 56 of them committed suicide.
Mhm.
Okay, so Momo asked if they're on work sites or at home. That's probably a mixture of both. I know
It's
job
a
site
mixture of both.
suicides. Yeah, I know job site suicides are real. We've
Mhm.
had a couple of them over the last couple of years ourselves on our job sites. Um,
And then they also talked about too, and this is where the physical safety and the mental safety comes in. They can't prove that somebody who died by an accident on a job site,
is suicide,
whether it was suicide or not, or whether that accident was purposeful.
right? Yeah.
They can just go back through records and say this person was wrote up XY times for the same reason over and over again.
Yeah. When I did Little Caesars Arena for the Detroit Pistons and the Red Wings, um, there was a guy that fell, is what it was deemed at first, and then there was people that came forward, said the things that he was saying the day prior added up to what he did, and they deemed it suicide. So
Um, so that's why they're starting to shift into this because the numbers are starting to climb drastically. Um, that construction is starting to get up there into like military rates. And it makes sense because a lot of military people get out of the military and then they go get construction jobs. So it's kind of like construction getting hit by like the double numbers.
yeah,
So they're wanting to refocus how to not only just have that physical aspect, but the mental aspect of helping people.
we have to do every 3 months. I want to say we have to do it if we're on a major job where one of our bigger wall bridge or um, Barton Mallow or them guys, they make you fill out a survey every so often. Like, do you know where to get help? Or if you have anything, please let us know. We can get you help. And they
Mm-hmm.
force you to take it. A lot of people don't take it serious. And that's where it gets hard is there's other people that don't believe in mental health. And then you got the other people that are very high on mental health. And mental health is serious, and I wish everybody would take it serious.
Um, so one of the big things they talked about too is like give yourself grace.
Okay.
Um, I see Marcus's comment about like men's mental health is like stigmatized. It very much is, and that is something in construction that they're kind of fighting to get people to like open up. When I was doing this training, a lot of the guys that were in my group, they were struggling to talk about it, but they were saying they want to talk about it. That they've all
Okay.
been impacted in some way, shape, or form by some type of mental health, suicide, XYZ, and they want to be somebody that people can come talk to. And that's why they were in the training.
That's good.
So, like, I am seeing differences. I am seeing changes. It's just going to be the slow and steady. Got to get people to open up.
Absolutely. Takes time.
Um, oh yeah. So one of the first chapters in the training, it talks about language matters. So it might not seem like over dramatic to say somebody committed suicide, but the phrase died by suicide is more objective and less judgmental. So changing the way you talk is a huge
Verbiage.
thing.
Your
Mm-hmm.
verbiage, yeah.
So when you're talking about mental health or suicide, if you can't replace it with cancer or another illness, you are using it wrong.
Say that again.
If you can't replace it with cancer, then you are using it wrong.
Hmm. It's a good way to look at it.
So that was a big thing that in that class, that when you are talking to somebody in those moments, or when you're learning about somebody who maybe have just they're a survivor of something like that, they're going through something like that, you aren't defining that moment of that person just by that moment. Like
Absolutely.
their life's not defined by that. So you have to be careful by the words you're choosing.
Right.
Um, so the next part is that was chapter one was considered design. They turned it into like a construction thing. So chapter
Nice.
two was bid. You want to pull up the picture?
Yes. If I can get it to work. I was about to do it, but I didn't want it to pop up in the middle of us talking. Browse desktop. Did I bring it up the right way?
Yes, it did.
Ah, it's massive.
Okay. Um,
Get it a little bit smaller.
so this is the interpersonal theory of suicide model, and this is what they had talked to us about if somebody had come to you with mental health, or if they were on the job site and they were saying that they felt this way, or they had somebody around them that had felt this way. So when somebody's feeling like this is kind of like what you can kind of imagine. They're feeling that first box is like the desire to escape unimaginable, like the I want to. So
Okay.
imagine you're in like a skyscraper and it's on fire.
Mm-hmm.
It's not necessarily like that you want to jump, but you want to get away from that fire.
Mm-hmm.
So you want to escape that pain. That's typically what leads to these other parts of the like Venn diagram right there. Top part is I'm a burden or I'm alone. And then the other circle is the capable. So we'll talk about the capable part of this. So capable or the I can part has three parts to it.
Okay.
Fearlessness. Um, it's an individual who may have a lower fear of death or just a lower fear in general. So a lot of these people are born this way. So there's not too many people of that. Kind of you have to build it up. But some people are born like they're just not fearful of it. A high pain tolerance. So an individual can kind of grow to have a high pain tolerance. So they've gone through something traumatic in their life, they've learned it. So many things can lead to that I can part.
Okay.
And then the other is they have the meanings to perform that.
Okay. So that's the dark gray area in the very middle. That says high risk of for suicide, attempt, or death.
No, that's still an I can.
Oh. Okay.
Mm-hmm. So they're not at a high risk if they're just kind of hanging out in the I can. When they become the high risk is when they kind of cross that dark area, is when they're feeling like a burden, feeling I'm alone. And it doesn't have to be both, it could just be one of those. And they meet one of those three that I just listed of I can.
Okay.
That's when they kind of cross over into that dark area and become a high risk.
Okay. Which makes sense.
So if they're feeling like they're a burden, you kind of want to like talk to them about how do they feel, how did they word it? Let me think on that one. I can't remember exactly how they worded it. They worded it really
All
well.
right. Just like, guys, you
Um,
guys see that I am a burden and I am alone. This is why we say this every time we're on the show. And then, like, if I take the picture away, you guys can see it at the bottom of the screen right now. You are not alone. We are here.
mhm.
It's the truth. Like, our DMs are always open. Our phones are available to you if you need them. If you're over in the UK, any other country other outside the United States and we can't physically talk on the phone?
You want answers? I think I'm entitled. You want answers? I want the truth!
And
sorry, Freedom gifted 5 to the chat and it was loud in my ear. Thank you, Freedom, for those 5 gifted to this chat. If you're in another country and you can't talk to us through the physical phone, there is Discord, guys. We could use Discord. We can do Discord calls. Just like as you're seeing us right now, we are in Discord. You guys are more than welcome to come and do just a voice-only channel, and we can both be there, myself or anybody else. And we have other members in the team that you can talk to if you would like to talk to somebody else. But you're not alone. We are here. And you're not a burden, guys. Don't think like that. Bring the image back up so they can see it.
So the last 2 things on this is, even though you don't feel like this is true about the individual or whatever, whoever it may be, to them, this feels real. They feel like these 2 statements are so true. In that moment, that's how they feel.
Right.
So that's why you have to talk to them about whatever they're feeling. You have to be I'm alone, get them connected, kind of bring them out of that I'm alone. Talk to them about how they're not a burden, but in a sense of not how you're feeling, but how they're feeling.
Right.
It's about them. It's not about how you feel. It's about how they feel.
It's about changing their mindset and their thoughts on themselves versus relation to what you're trying to put out to them from your side. You got to make it in their perspective.
Mm-hmm. And when they were talking about this, a big thing that they had said, when they're feeling these emotions, it is not an act of selfishness. It's actually an act of selflessness because they truly feel these things. So to keep that in mind, that they're actually feeling this and talking to you about this in a selfless way.
That one could shed a lot of light onto people thinking that it's a selfish thing.
Mm-hmm. I think that was a big one that hit everybody in the training. Was a lot of people do think it's a selfish act, and we don't truly know what's going through their head, but
right.
If you look deeper into these feelings, it's a selfish act because they're feeling like they're taking this burden away from you, they're taking XYZ away from you. So kind of just having that knowledge behind it.
Right. And at the end of the day, suicide does affect a lot more people than just that person. So that's why the general thought of it being selfish is there, because now they're the ones that aren't feeling anything anymore and they're not going through all that stuff anymore, but everybody around them is, and their lives still continue on. But again, you gotta know why was that person in that mindset. What created him to get there? What could we have done more to stop it? Sometimes there's nothing we can do, guys. So that's one of the biggest things we've both had to go through recently in the last couple of years of like, what did we miss? What could we have done more?
Mm-hmm. And then you can take down this picture.
Okay.
Moving into chapter 3 of this training is build. So it talked about how you can build a conversation. So the rule is, if suicidal thoughts are shared, you need to bring someone into the conversation who is professionally trained to make those assessments. And that's why they're training people within the organizations. So like the company I work for, they have a ground crew.
They go around job site to job site. That's good.
Yep.
That's very good.
If they're not on the job site right then they will show up at a job site. They have like on our website who the ground crew is, so people can just reach out right to them. But until that time, like in this training, they taught us about 811. They taught us about our actual employee program so that until the ground crew can get to the job site or get to that individual, if it is that emergent, you can have a suicide hotline on. You can be talking through it, or not 811,
988.
98. Thank you. Um, and then they kind of walk through like different ways that you can take the conversation, and always leave it up to them how they want it to. Like with us, there's the 988 or the company's hotline that they have. Leave it up to them who they want to talk to.
It
Open it
is.
up. Do you want me to stay in the room with you? Do you want me to leave? How do you want me to approach this with you? Because this is like all about you until that person gets through.
What we used in the military was called ACE. Let's see if I can pull up a quick old. It was as simple as ACE, guys. It was a card that said ask, care, escort. Ask the questions, care for that person, and escort them to get help if they need it. Don't make them feel like they're a victim. You know, don't make them feel like they're a problem. Just let them know that you're actually there, genuinely giving a crap about them and actually caring that they're alive and want to be alive.
Mm-hmm.
So
And kind of along that line, they gave us chips that we can write our number on. That if we see if somebody's like having it rough, having a bad day, not to necessarily talk to them right there, but we can give them the chip just to let them know, like, hey, I'm here for you. You can call whenever. And you can just give them the chip. It's kind of like a silent, I see you. If you need anything, I got you.
absolutely, it's like the military says, "I got your six in one way or another" for us. So, you know, on the battlefield and off.
Um, that's what I had for that one. It was a pretty deep training, but I thought it was like very useful, and
I'm
they're
just glad
very
to
enlightened.
see they're trying to do it more of it. And they're doing it not just like, hey, let's put out a little seminar once every 3 months. They're actually putting ground teams together. They're moving them
Mhm.
around from job site to job site. We have stewards that are supposed to do that stuff. Do you think they give? No, they don't care. They just do what they're supposed to so they get their paycheck. And that's the problem. People don't take it serious enough to make it known.
Yeah, it's very refreshing. Like they're I talked to one of the grounds crew people and like asked if I could join their meeting. And I joined it this Tuesday. They told me I'm like very interested in like the mental health world. All that, and I talked about our nonprofit, how we do the podcast,
This is my behavioral
and
health appointment. I answered the call and they legit said no answer and hung up on me.
um and like they're getting ready to release mental health toolbox talks. They've been using construction as what toolbox talks are. So it's gonna be not just safety talks, it's gonna be talking about like how we do this. They're gonna start talking about this on the job site. It's gonna
That's good.
start
Yeah, we do
so
toolbox every Wednesday, like a new safety training aid. So along with that safety training aid, we will have now mental health ones as well to stack it. You know,
mhm.
a lot of the problem is people don't know where to go.
Yep. And that one I think is always how do you get the information to them? And then it's the ones who's listening. So there's like two things there. How do you get the information to the right people? And then
Yeah,
there's always like the language barrier. There's something.
yeah, we gotta find different different things to attract people's attention to understanding and making it aware more. If me and you were just having a random conversation on a job site, somebody else might overhear it, and then might want to join in or have a question as themselves. So if you're talking about it, people are hearing it.
Mm-hmm.
So the more we talk about it, the more people we might make some people mad talking about it, but you know what? They still heard us. They might have a bad day one day. We could be the ones they lean on having that bad day. Say not all publicity is good publicity.
Mm-hmm. But sometimes you know the bad to get where you want to go.
Yeah. Marcus says, I wish it was talked about more. And that's kind of what needs to happen is everybody don't be scared to talk about it.
I mean, if you're gonna hit a few bumps in the road talking about it, I had this conversation with somebody at work. Who just recently went through experiencing something like this, and he was talking about he didn't know who to talk to and went through. I mean, like, obviously save talking to me about it, but if you're talking about it, you're gonna hit some people that just don't have that same view on it, and that's okay. Just keep talking about it, and I guess agree to disagree, and
yeah, don't let them put you in another negative mindset by you telling your story. Tell your story. Guys, tell your story. Tell it. Because somebody might be feeling that same exact way as you speak it. And something you might say in that moment might be the reason they choose to live another day. Now, a good time to come tell mine. Marcus, if I got time, I don't know. Do you have time, Alyssa?
no.
Well, Marcus, we can save it if you want to do it this week or you can do it next week, Marcus. We'll leave it up to you. Guys, if you guys don't know Marcus, Marcus is a day one person over here. Went through a little bit of a hardship, and he's choosing to come on. Marcus, whenever you're most comfortable. If you're comfortable and ready right now, we're right here.
Mm-hmm.
If you want more time to gather yourself and put yourself in a better mindset, to do whatever you got to do, you're good now. All right.
Come on.
Team Dissy, and I'll pull you down. Oh, did it not work? Oh, there it goes. I was like, what the heck?
While you guys get them in there, I'm gonna let my dog go real quick.
Yeah, no, mine are whining too. I tried to tell the boys to take them out. Guys, like I said, if you want to tell your story, we will absolutely let you tell your story. Marcus?
Back. How's it going?
Good. How are you, bud?
I'm doing all right.
Let me see how loud I got you, because I have her turned up to 200 and my comms are like stupid loud and she's still quiet. All right, I think you're at a good level.
Alrighty. I'm just gonna wait for her to get back. I don't know if you've told her anything that's going on, or
I told her a little bit of what was going on because she's actually been researching like local facilities for you if you weren't finding anything.
Yeah.
And stuff. So she knows, she's aware of what happened.
What's going on? Yeah.
Yeah.
No, the group therapy I'm going to now is absolutely fantastic. My therapist is so down to earth. She is amazing. She's a Navy vet, and so she is really down to earth, and she curses like a sailor. She really does. It's awesome.
Well, that's good. It gives you something to feel comfortable with, it that she isn't too political and too like punctual, I guess you can say.
Yeah, and she's not just there therapizing us. She's lived this, and this is what she lives her life by, and so it's awesome.
That's good.
So I guess I'll start. My name's Marcus. Like Sharp said, I've been in the channel and your guys' channels a lot. Usually I just hide in the background. Recently, it's been about a month now. I attempted suicide, and I almost succeeded. I took a full bottle of a blood thinner, and I slit my wrist from my elbow up to my thumb. I had 33 sutures, or 33 staples and 17 sutures in my hand. I went through a 4-hour surgery to save my life. At the time, I was just looking for a way out. I deal with severe back pain on a daily basis, and it just got to the point where the pain was too much, and I didn't realize that I had so many people that were a support system. When Ryan tells you that his phone is always open, his phone is always open. He's been there checking in on me. He calls me. He tells me anytime I need to talk to him that he's there. And so there are people out there that love and care about you. And like I said in chat earlier, the number one thing that I can say is reach out, because there are people that care about you and love you.
Absolutely. We do love you, brother. And I told you that from day one, that after we talked and everything, that you're not alone, man. And it means a lot to hear you come on here and tell your story. And I'm glad to hear your voice.
And seeing that picture, like I said, it's scary how much I can see now that I was relating to the things that the picture says. I felt like I was a burden. I felt like I didn't have anyone. And with the pain that I'm always going through, yeah, I had a high pain tolerance, so I got to the point where I didn't care anymore. And so it's scary seeing that. But I want you guys to know that it's okay to not be okay. Just don't stay that way. There's always somebody out there
100%.
that can help you.
And don't stop.
There's
Don't stop because
Yeah.
you think there's somebody out there. And like you said, now your group therapy that you now have found is amazing to you, right?
Yeah, it's absolutely amazing. I go 3 times a week, and like I said, the therapist that I have, she is absolutely amazing, and she's always there, talking to us and there if we need her. I also have a caseworker that's on the outside from the program that comes and checks with me every week, and she's there. I have her number if I ever need to call anybody or anything. So, and the number one supporter that I didn't know that I still had, and it's actually who I'm living with now, is actually my ex-wife.
She's the one that called
Um,
me.
she is. The day that I did this all, I had barricaded myself in the house, in my old house, and I wasn't planning on coming out. And I was ready for an officer to come in and have to take my life if it came down to that. The only reason that I came out was because I seen her on the ground crying. That she was screaming and crying because she still cared about me enough that she didn't want me to be hurting myself. And I have 2 young daughters, and she wanted me to still be there for them. And so, I'm sorry. Just
No, don't be sorry.
Take your time.
Absolutely take your time, brother. I spoke to his ex-wife, and we've had a very deep conversation about all this stuff that's going on, and I thanked her
she's absolutely amazing.
repeatedly because regardless,
She is absolutely amazing.
yes, she is a genuine person, and that's in her heart, and she put aside even her new relationship to make sure that the father of their kids was taken care of, and she didn't care
Her
what
boyfriend
else.
Justin, he's absolutely amazing as well. They both, when I was in the hospital, they were both up there every day, checking on me, making sure I was okay. They they are both so amazing. Like I said, I'm living with them now. They are there for me every day. They're the ones that are getting me to therapy. They're backing me 100% with this, and I can't thank them enough. I really can't.
I just love to hear
So
that
I
the one person
know
you would
that
have
you
never
have a
thought,
support
right?
group. Yeah.
Yeah, the one person
Yeah.
you
I
never
mean,
thought would be there.
she was still a good friend of mine, but I didn't realize that she still cared about me that much. And that's honestly what brought me out of the house that day. And so I
And
want
what
you guys to know
she
that
She
You
knows
are
what.
loved.
You know why she cares about you, or yeah, you know why she cares about you. Because you're an amazing person, Marcus. I've
Mhm.
had the pleasure of meeting you in real life, talking to you repeatedly over and over again. You're an amazing person. You really are. You're just
I love you, brother. I really do.
love
Thank
you
you for
too, bro.
everything you've done for me.
I'm always here. I'm not going nowhere.
I know, man. And I know now to the signs to look out for. Like, I don't know if you guys noticed, but I kind of stepped away from your guys' streams
Yes.
and I wasn't there anymore. And that's because that was me self-isolating. And I know that now not to do that and to reach out when I am feeling like that. And so if you ever
Uh,
see me not around anymore,
made your ass come to St. Louis with us, or where'd we go? No, where'd we go?
Kansas City.
Kansas City. Yeah, made your ass get out of the house and come to Kansas City with us for the weekend. Even though your ass was in pain, you still came. And I got to share my family with you. Got to bring Cricky in there. Alex, everybody was there.
Like I said, Ruthless, I don't know you very well, but know that if you're ever feeling like that, that we are here. Reach out, man. Like you are loved. You matter. So thank you for being here with us.
Absolutely. And you guys know my vets have a soft spot in my heart. The vets are the ones that have they're the ones that put me through the sleepless nights, I promise you, because they're actually reaching out here and there, and it means a lot. I've talked to probably over 100 vets in the last year and a half through the night. And guys, when I say my phone is on, it I might be sleeping, I might miss a couple calls, but it's on. Like, and if I don't know the number, I might not answer right away either, but I'll call back. I swear. I just know that my
Like I
phone is
said,
always on. DMs are always on.
he really means it when he says that, guys. Like I said, he's been there for me. When I was in the hospital, there was two people that I wanted told, and Ryan was one of them because I knew that he would do whatever he could to try and help.
And I talked to your ex-wife every day until you got home.
Yeah.
And then I still check on you every other day or so and see how you're doing.
Yeah. If I'm not in here talking to him, checking in with him, he's texting me. So he's always there, guys. Well, I just want to thank you guys for having me on here and allowing me to share my story because there for a while I was kind of hush hush about it just because I was still processing everything myself.
It's
It's
understandable.
I still look at my scar and can't believe that I did that to myself.
Well, thank you
Like,
for sharing, but you've gotta take it easy and like I said, be
yeah,
patient with yourself.
It definitely
yeah,
takes time to heal,
it's
Cricky. You're correct.
it does, and I appreciate you guys for being there for me as I heal.
We
It's gonna take
appreciate you
time,
being
but
able to share your story because there's somebody out there that needed to hear this.
Hmm.
you know, like I said, you're never alone. You may think it in that moment that you don't have anyone or that you're alone, but you're not. I promise. It'll come in the strangest way. You won't even know it. And or throughout your day when you're just talking to somebody or you see somebody that's down, just smile and say hello because you never know, you might change that person's life.
One of the very first podcasts I said that. I said it's as simple as just saying hello to someone to make them feel noticed.
Hmm.
That could be the reason they choose to fight another day. How hard is it to say hello? How hard is it to open the door for somebody and hold it as they walk in? Or if somebody sneezes, say bless you. I know not everybody's religious, but everybody understands bless you. Like it's just the being noticed, letting them know that you see them. Simple things like that can change their whole day. Marcus, I love you, brother. I really do. I appreciate you coming on here and sharing your story. Uh, for us to even be able to have the chance to do this, thanks to you guys, keeping us going and wanting to do the podcast. It means a lot to be able to provide the platform for you to share your story, and we never know who it's going to reach. And we're going to keep pushing and trying to reach as many people as possible. But the more stories we hear, the more people can relate to. And it
I
means a lot.
appreciate you guys again. Like I said, even before, like just being in your stream, just your regular stream, it's been so much for me. Just knowing that I have somewhere to go, even if I do step away and I'm not there sometimes, that you do provide that safe space for everybody. It's amazing. It really is.
You might hear me yelling a lot, but it is a safe place. It's just the God's honest truth. Call of Duty does that to everybody, though.
Yes, sir.
All right.
All right, I'm gonna head off here so you guys can end your podcast or whatnot. Again, thank you for everything, for having me, and just being able to share my story, and hopefully it does reach out to somebody and they can get the help that they need.
You're welcome here anytime.
Any day, anytime, Marcus. Thank you again.
Alrighty, no problem.
All right. Have a good night, bud. Old man Speck in the house. All right, Chad, as you guys just heard, somebody close to us in the community was there every day and then wasn't. You guys, you will notice these things. We knew Marcus was going through a hard time. We try to keep an eye on him. Sometimes it's not controllable, but you got to let people know that they're not a burden and let them know that they're not alone and that there is help out there for them. There is somebody else out there for them. That's the community that we're trying to bring. Any day I hit live, it's not about the money for me. Anytime we do these podcasts, it's not about recognition or anything other than awareness in providing a safe place for people to come and get away from the daily realities of struggles and mental health, and maybe getting information that they could use to progress in their life to getting the help they need or getting better. It sucks when somebody so close to you does this, and it's right in your front door, and sometimes you don't catch it in time. Glad to hear Marcus's voice. Glad to hear his story. Glad to see that he's getting the help that is actually helping him, and that's huge. Guys, just tell somebody you love them today. All right, let them know. You just never know. You got anything else, Lisa?
No, I think that was a beautiful way to end this.
Absolutely. All right, guys. On behalf of myself, Mrs. Wi-Fi, and the Fly High Wi-Fi organization, we just want to say thank you for being here during this mental health podcast. We'll see you guys in a couple weeks. Bye.